Ever found yourself at the loss of words when it comes to expressing your emotions? Do you often struggle to find the right words to convey your feelings? Or you are just tired of the translation in your head when it comes to conveying your emotions? Well, I've got you covered because today we are going to learn advanced vocabulary in order to articulate our emotions effectively. Welcome to Fluency Goals. I am Mandeep, and together we'll achieve our goals to fluency. Adoration. Adoration is a noun that comes from verb adore. Now, adoration, it is a strong feeling of love, deep affection for someone or something. This emotion describes a deep feeling of love, of affection for somebody or something. It's like feeling intense warmth and admiration towards a thing or a person. You might adore a family member, a pet, a close friend, or even a hobby or a piece of art. So you can use adoration when expressing your feelings towards someone or something you deeply love or admire. I feel adoration for my grandmother because she's always been there for me and has so much wisdom to share. I feel adoration for my newborn baby whenever I hold it in my arms. She looked at her partner with adoration as he played guitar. The little girl's adoration for her grandmother was evident the way she hugged her warmly. Amazement. Consider amazement a synonym of surprise. So it's a feeling of great surprise and wonder. It's like being amazed by something incredible or unexpected that catches your attention and leaves you in awe. Use amazement when you want to express how surprised or how impressed you are at something. For instance, I watched the fireworks display with amazement. The colors and patterns were breathtaking. The magician's tricks left the audience in total amazement. She stared at the night sky in amazement, mesmerized by the beauty of stars. He expressed amazement at how quickly his garden had grown after the rain. Indignation. Indignation. It's a strong feeling of anger or annoyance provoked by something unjust, unfair, or offensive. So, if something unjust is happening in your office or in your country and you are provoked with that sudden feeling of anger toward that injustice, then that is the feeling of indignation. Often, indignation is accompanied by a feeling of moral outrage. So, when you think something is not morally correct, it is wrong, and there has been injustice, then you feel that indignation. She felt a surge of indignation when she discovered that her colleague had plagiarized her work. Her impassioned letter to the editor conveyed her indignation at the government's decision to cut funding for public education. Social media platforms often serve as channels for people to express their indignation towards societal injustice and call for change. Disgust. Disgust. Disgust is a strong feeling of dislike or revulsion towards something unpleasant. So, when something is very unpleasant to look at, to taste, to feel, and you feel strong disliking for that thing, then you feel disgusted and you feel disgust toward that thing. So, you can use disgust to describe something that makes you feel sick, uncomfortable. The smell of rotten food filled me with disgust. I had to throw it away immediately. She wrinkled her nose in disgust at the sight of dirty dishes in the sink. Ecstasy. Ecstasy. Pronounce it as ecstasy. Ecstasy is an overwhelming feeling of joy, happiness, or euphoria. So, it is the highest level of joy that you can feel. So, it's like feeling so incredibly happy and excited that you're almost floating with joy. You can use ecstasy to describe moments of extreme happiness and bliss. For instance, winning the championship brought him ecstasy beyond words. She danced with ecstasy when she received news of promotion. The couple's wedding day was filled with moments of sheer ecstasy. Apprehension. Apprehension is the feeling of worry, nervousness, or fear about something that is going to happen. So, when you're feeling worried about what is going to happen next, then you are feeling apprehension about that thing or that situation. It's like having that feeling of unease, concern about what might occur in the future. Imagine you have a big test tomorrow and you are feeling nervous because you are not sure if you studied enough. That feeling of worry or fear about what might happen in your test is the feeling of apprehension. She felt a sense of apprehension before her job interview. The dog's apprehension was evident as it trembled during the thunderstorm. Mothers are always filled with apprehension thinking about the future of their children. Homesickness. Homesickness. So, a feeling of longing, nostalgia, thinking about your home when you are away from home and you're missing your home, your familiar surroundings. So, then you're feeling homesick. So, it is that feeling of longingness where you want to go back to your home. Living abroad for years, he often experienced homesickness for his hometown. She felt a pang of homesickness whenever she smelled any food similar to her mother's cooking. The old photographs brought a wave of homesickness as she remembered the happy times spent with her family. Bliss. Bliss. Bliss is a feeling of extreme joy and happiness. So, ecstasy is accompanied with a lot of excitement, exuberation, but bliss is when you are in a simple state of happiness and you are just enjoying in those moments of happiness and you are calm, relaxed, happy. The newlyweds were in a state of bliss on their honeymoon. The child's laughter filled the room with bliss. Waking up to the sound of chirping birds brought her a sense of blissful contentment. So, when something is filled with bliss, happiness, you call it blissful. Blissful is an adjective, whereas bliss is a noun. Loneliness. We all know loneliness. The feeling of loneliness when you are feeling isolated due to lack of companionship. So when you lack some company and you want the need to be there in somebody's company, then you feel lonely. So loneliness is often accompanied by a feeling of sadness. Moving to a new city left her feeling overwhelmed with loneliness. The empty house echoed with the sound of her footsteps, amplifying her loneliness. Outrage. Outrage. Outrage is a strong feeling of shock, anger, or indignation caused by something unfair, unjust, or morally wrong. It's like feeling upset and angry over something bad and unacceptable. Imagine you saw someone being treated unfairly or heard about a cruel act in the news. That feeling of anger and disbelief you would feel is outrage. So when you just can't believe something wrong has happened and you feel that burning need to speak against it, you are feeling outrage. The community reacted with outrage to the government scam. His action sparked outrage among the public, leading to widespread protests. She expressed her outrage over the company's unethical business practices through social media. Anguish. Anguish. So, when you feel severe mental pain or suffering, you are feeling anguish. It's like experiencing intense sadness, worry, distress that can be very hard to bear. Imagine a time when you felt incredibly sad or worried about something. That feeling of deep sorrow or distress is what anguish is like. It's a very strong emotion to deal with. The mother's anguish was palpable when she couldn't find her missing child. He clenched his fists in anguish as he received the news of his father's illness. Emity. Amity. So when you have friendly and peaceful relationship with people, between people or countries, then you call it amity. So the peaceful relationship between people or groups is called amity. It means being friendly and peaceful with others. It's like having that good relationship where everyone gets along well and helps each other. It's about being kind, supportive to each other. The neighboring countries signed a treaty to promote peace and amity. Despite their differences, they maintained a relationship of respect and amity. The community worked together with amity to rebuild after the natural disaster. So that was all for today's session. I hope that it added some value to your learning. If you like this video, then please hit that like button. Do subscribe to my channel if you have not done yet. It means a lot for me and it provides me the highest motivation to serve you with the valuable content. I'll see you next week with another session. Till then, happy learning.